Welcome back to the Jameson Files. I'm your host, Carrie Weber, and so excited to be coming back. And while we're recording this, we are entering into the fourth quarter of 2023. And why I wanted to bring that up is because today's topic is going to be all about the trends in marketing, what we see happening, because what I hope that all of you are doing is preparing yourself now for the year you want to have in 2024. So I'm thrilled to be joined with my guest friend and teammate, Nate Porter, who is the Chief Marketing Officer of the Jameson Group. So, Nate, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Excited to
My
talk about this topic.
Yeah. And, my hope is what we can do in this episode is just really share what you and the Jameson marketing team have been seeing as of late in terms of what's getting results in marketing or what's happening that practices and dental practice or dental business owners need to be aware of. And also, like I said, how to plan for this upcoming year, what you need to review and what you need to strategize for so that we can help you grow your practices or your businesses, whatever the case may be. So, Nate, I want to pass it over to you for a little bit. Tell me what you're seeing. Tell me what your recommendations would be at this point in the year.
Yeah, so what we're seeing, it's interesting kind of watching trends and seeing what's happening with marketing in general. And one of the things that we see a lot of is a really widening gap in terms of what people are doing for marketing. So things have evolved, and some people are still kind of you know looking back at their 2015 2016 strategy, and they think that that's going to continue to work, and it is in some markets maybe, but what we are seeing is that there's a lot more people who are really advancing in their marketing, and they're really putting a lot of effort, a lot of resources behind their marketing. And so what that looks like is, as we've kind of been talking about over the last number of years, is a trend more towards more authenticity. And so, kind of away from this templated, very static, very generic feel to marketing, to online marketing, to social media, all of that sort of thing, to a much more genuine approach. And I think, as you kind of look at the marketing industry as a whole, and you listen to leaders in the industry, what you hear is the importance of understanding the signal to noise ratio. So as you have, more demands on attention, more demands on people's time, more competition, frankly, kind of in the marketing space, including dentistry, you have a harder time kind of breaking through that noise. And so what can break through is not shouting louder about your list of services that you offer, or being more sort of pushy about your message, but is more towards being more authentic. And so what we see as kind of tools for that are really creating a conversation with your potential patients, or even with your patients online. And that conversation needs to start online. It can't start, you can't wait for it to start in your practice. And so that can be things like video, like what we're doing here today, where we're having a conversation about topics that are relevant. It can be just authentic photography of your team and your practice, of you interacting with patients, so that people have that feel that, dentistry can be something that creates anxiety. This feels warm, it feels welcoming, it feels like something that I'm going to want to engage with. But if the contrast has gotten so much more clear, I guess, between what was maybe common, in the early 20 teens to today, is night and day, from people who have kind of kept up and kept kind of moving their marketing forward.
Yeah, I love this point, and I think the hang up is, especially what you find in dentistry, is historically it felt like you could have this set it and forget it type of, okay, I'm there, I'm online, I have a website, I have a logo, whether it's a good logo or not is for another conversation, but um and we just don't put enough emphasis on why market in the first place. And I love your point about the authenticity and the use of video. One of the easiest things, if people feel like I don't even know where to start with that, is start with the people and the products and the brands and the businesses that you really enjoy seeing online, like the websites that you like, the social media that you like. And almost every time, I guarantee the social media influencers or businesses that you follow have some kind of fantastic video piece that's included in that, because of your point, Nate, the authenticity of it, getting to see a little bit more of the who behind the what, and to see if there's that type of connection. It's just, what I always tell people in lectures is marketing evolves quickly, and it evolves because of how the consumer is gathering information, how the consumer is using online resources, how the consumer is finding what they're looking for. So, marketing isn't continuously changing just to make your life harder. Marketing's actually changing to make the consumer's life easier. And so that was something that I just wanted to share with what you're talking about. So, sorry to
Hmm.
interrupt, but I love the point that you're talking about in terms of that authenticity piece.
Yeah, I think it's a really really important point. And the other thing too, I think, is you can probably get a little bit discouraged if you see some of the big corporate um, entities coming in. Some of them look really polished, and a lot of them are spending a lot of money on marketing, TV, and otherwise. And you're like, how do I ever compete with a 12 to $15,000 a month budget, per practice? And you know the thing is that they are taking a shotgun or sledgehammer approach to it. So there is a lot of ineffective dollars being put towards marketing in those situations, and you can't compete if you're authentic and you're strategic with a much more affordable plan, I guess. And so just the fact that you are personal, that you do care, and that you are um, you know you're focused on the patient is a big um, differentiator if you can frame that message in a way that breaks through.
Absolutely. Just to answer the question for yourselves as businesses, how can I be more present in my efforts? Meaning, how can I really show up more? It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be, to your point, Nate, it doesn't have to be this shiny thing. It's really about that authentic presence in your message, and repeatedly doing that. It's something that you have to be continuously putting effort into. Some of our favorite clients, they use a combination of the services that we provide for them, and they bring in their own mix to the recipe, using their own team and skills and time and efforts. And I think that's really a secret sauce there, is
Hmm.
using professional services to give you some really high level, great content, great video, all of those pieces, great website, and then combine that with your own personal efforts as a team to be continuously posting and reaching out and connecting with your community, your patients, your online reach, and so on. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's really important. One of the things that can be overwhelming for practices is understanding what tools to use for what purposes. And so if you're kind of, I'll try this and I'll try that, and we'll, do a little bit of everything, you can probably feel overwhelmed and discouraged pretty quickly. Um, One of the things that we look at when we kind of look at practices is we look at, what are your goals, what are your outcomes that you're hoping for, and then what tools kind of meet those needs. And so if you're looking to build referrals and engage with your current patient base and things like that, we really recommend strengthening your social media efforts, maybe even personal email type campaigns and things like that, because that really connects with your existing patient family, and it kind of helps create some buzz around your practice. If you're looking to grow new patients and build traffic in that way, your focus really needs to be on your website, and it needs to be on the ways that you can leverage your website to grow traffic from Google, because we know 85 to 90% of that traffic comes from a Google search to your website. And so that's everything. It can be as simple as making sure that you're asking for reviews when you have patients in your practice verbally, not just putting a sign out there that says give us a review. The other thing that you might want to look at is just stand back and take a look at what the patient sees when they are searching for dentistry in your area. If your listing comes up on Google and there's a picture on your Google listing that looks dark and uninviting, or maybe just a picture of the street view of your building, you can change that really easily and give a more welcoming feel. And often people, that's the first thing, and sometimes it's the last impression of your practice. So things like that are things that can be easily updated and changed, but really taking an interest. I really like what Gary Vee says about you no longer have the luxury of being a putting it in dental terms, you no longer have the luxury of being a dentist who does marketing. You're a marketer who does dentistry. You have to think about how you incorporate storytelling throughout your process and your day.
Oh, I love that. I love
Yep.
that. And you can see it. You can see it online. You can see it with the people that just get it, that recognize they need to be continuously on top of what's working and staying relevant. Not only for the perception of the patient, but I was just talking about the other day, your online presence there, it not only is building a type of perception for potential patients and your existing patients, but it's also building perception from potential employees, whether or not you're a practice that they would want to work at and be a part of. So it's important to keep in mind that it's that this needs to be a priority, not just once, not just every 5 years, but continuously, and finding some companies and services that you trust and feel aligned with to help you for the long run, because it's a long game. This is not a sprint. This is the marathon, because you need to be continuously updating, continuously contributing, and you're going to need help to do that. Nate, you brought up Google search, and something that I'd love to pick your brain about is I think there are archaic concepts about what works in being found. And a lot of people, I think, put all their eggs in the basket still of Google ads and things like that to just check that box. But something that we always talk about is we're not just looking for quantity of opportunities, we're looking for quality of opportunities. So could you share a little bit of how the tides have turned and what the trends are today of what really does work in terms of finding ideal patients, ideal customers, whatever kind of business whoever's listening is a part of, that Google, what have they shifted along the way over the years that people really need to be aware of?
Yeah. So in general, for the past 30 to 50 years, people have looked at marketing as advertising, and they are not the same thing. And now recently, there's been a lot more differentiation between the two. Advertising is making a slick statement that says here's this service for this price, you should buy it because of XYZ. Marketing is more about storytelling, and it's more about building value in what you do, and Google search is no different. So we hear a lot of, and Google ads can have a place, and they can be beneficial for sure. However, when you start with a Google ad and someone clicks on that ad, they know that you paid to be there. So you're already kind of starting the relationship at a disadvantage in terms of trust and buy-in. Also, less people, because of that, click on the Google ad. So if you are doing a search and you see 3 ad results at the top, only about 10 to 15% of searchers will click on one of those results, and the rest 70 or so percent will click on the top 3 organic results. And the reason is because they trust that those results are more accurate, that they've earned the right to be in the top of search, and so you have more buy-in right off the bat with that. It's getting into top results for organic search. That can be a journey, it can be a process, but again, because you're earning that position and you're earning the authority, the right to be at the top of search results, by the quality of what you're offering, the quality of content that you're putting out, you just have a better and more qualified result. We hear that all the time from our clients as well, as we build their organic position in search, that the quality of lead that they get, the quality of new patient that they get is completely different. The way that you do that is you do have to build authority in search, and so it's not a slow process, but also you're providing value to the searcher. And so if someone's searching for dental implants, they may have a lot of different questions around dental implants, from the price to how long does it take to what's the recovery process like, does it feel different from my natural teeth, all of those types of questions that they're going to ask. And if you can answer those questions authentically from the perspective of your practice, not a dictionary encyclopedia answer, and in a way that they connect with, by the time they've done they're done consuming that content, whether that's a video or written content on your website, they already have bought into you as a provider in that process. So you've shortcutted all of that, initial, building value and building, and educating the patient by providing that content to them on your website, and you have the side benefit of showing up in search for that information.
Yeah, I love that you brought up trust, that it's building trust. And I love that you said it adds value, because, for anyone that listens to the Jameson files or is a Jameson client or has come to see me lecture or is on Grow, I talk ad nauseum about building 4 pillars in your practice with your patients. And those are trust, need, urgency, and value. And so that doesn't just happen when the patient's in the practice. This happens the moment they connect the dots with you at any point in time. However, they've been referred to you by a friend, if they're seeing a review, if they're going to your website, if they're going to your Instagram page, whatever the case may be. Every single touch and every single conversation, every single experience is either building up those pillars or they're not. And so I love that point, that even how you are found in online search plays a role in the building up or diminishing of that patient's perception of you, your practice, your care, and whether or not they're going to become a patient of record of yours. So I loved that, Nate. I kind of took us on a left turn, but thanks for answering that question. Let's get back on track of the things that you would consider important for practices to review or work on or focus on in the coming year. Any other trends that practices need to be aware of?
Yeah, I mean, if I was going to sort of, summarize it in a nutshell, I would say, start by looking at what your patients see, your potential patients see when they're looking for dentistry in your area. That is going to be an eye opener for you, and follow it through the whole way to your practice website and making an appointment. What does that journey look like? Is it frustrating? Is it engaging? Is it something that they, feel, welcomed? Is it a happy experience? Does it feel, does it feel, interesting, and does it bring joy kind of in that process? So that's kind of foundational. If you feel like you're in a pretty good place with kind of your online brand and your marketing and all of those kind of things, really think about how you build social proof. And social proof is basically just saying, I can say all day how great I am at what I do, but nobody's going to listen to what I say. People are going to listen to what other people are saying. And so, do you have social proof throughout your marketing process? When someone lands on your homepage, is there, patient testimonials of people talking about their experience in your practice? Are there, reviews or, stories being shown, that kind of thing? And think about that kind of across the spectrum. Um, and of course, part of that is video. And I think when we look at video, video is about 80% other people talking about you and your approach to dentistry, their experience in your practice, and maybe 15 to 20%, introducing your team, your practice, and you as a practitioner. So I think video is key. Understanding what a patient sees when they engage with your practice is really key. And of course, that organic, authentic brand and content is really key to building value in your dentistry in 2024.
I love that. You actually introduced the book "Building a Story Brand" to me when we first started working together, and basically, I mean, I'm going to destroy this, but the concept of the book is exactly what you're saying, is allowing the stories of your patients' experiences with you, the story of you and your practice, um, be the guiding narrative that people find and help them make the decision of whether you're a good fit for them and their families, um, in that whole buying consumer process. And you're absolutely right, Nate. Using video, the 80%, I love that. Letting 80% of the story be someone else talking about their experience with you, because as we always say, it's not necessarily about you, it's about them. When patients or potential patients come to your website, when they go to look at reviews, they're not looking to hear all about, oh, how many degrees you have or where you study or all of those things. They want to know what you're going to do for them. They want to know how they are going to feel as a patient in your practice. And so if you do nothing else, then I would recommend in this quarter that you go and do a personal review of your website, of your social media, of your reviews, of all of those external channels and outlets that patients have access to, and decide for yourself, if you were a potential patient, if you were a patient in your practice, do those outlets and do the stories that you're telling help them feel drawn to become a patient of your practice as well? Does it draw me to you? If you were a potential patient of your practice, would you want to go there? And if the answer is no in any of those channels, then I would recommend that you prioritize that particular outlet to improve that. And to Nate's point, create authentic stories in that channel that help you. And if it's because you haven't had a review posted for you in 6 months, then it's time as a team to work on how can we ask for more reviews? How can we improve this in our verbal skills and our efforts when our beloved patients are in our practice to help us build our business externally? So great points, Nate. Looking for authenticity, looking for the stories, looking to make sure that you are organically being found for the things you want to be found for. Making sure that your website reflects the best possible version of you. And even if that means updating some photographs on your site, updating the homepage, getting more patient stories and videos on there, take those little tweaks of improvements and see the results come, because that is what the consumer, who is your patient or potential patient, your future 2024 patients, that's what they're looking for. So, Nate, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate all the things that you've shared.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so happy I could be on.
And thanks to all of you for being with us today. We so appreciate having you as a part of our Jameson Files community. If you like this community, if you like the information that's being shared, we certainly want to grow our community. So thanks in advance for sharing these videos, for following us and subscribing to us wherever you listen to podcasts. You'll be able to find the Jameson Files on our Facebook page, on YouTube, on our website, on Grow, and also wherever you listen to podcasts. So thanks for being a part of our community. Thanks again to Nate. You all be well, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Jameson Files. Visit us online at jmsn.com. You can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Google Play Music, or Spotify. See you next time.